The lesbian is here. Oh, fuck. Why? Why do you do this? Hi guys. I just wanted to quickly say, I don't give a fuck if if I have a little bit of eyeliner right there, like, I don't give a fuck. I just feel like if I don't say anything, and I know people have already said something, it's just gonna go unchecked regardless. And the more people start saying this, the more it'll go check and maybe hopefully correct it. We're talking about the debate bros, you know, the fucking Voshes and the Shoe0nheads and all that.
Oh, what did they say now?
You know,
kink needs to be kind of like regulated or not involved in pride.
First of all, no one asked. Let's just be honest here. This is not a problem that the queer community has either perpetuated or orchestrated. No, it is the problem of the American education system. They don't teach children about important things such as gender or sexuality or, you know, the possibilities of hormone therapy or the possibilities of puberty blockers or testosterone therapy and things like that. And especially relating to this, they don't teach anything in regards to consent, levels of boundaries to make, building relationships even. They don't teach that shit. All they want to teach is fucking mayonnaise, missionary, butt fuck sex. Oh, and if you even dare to even think about, even for a second, having sex before marriage, God will fucking throw a lightning bolt on your ass and, I don't know, whatever fucking Christian mythology, you know, fan fiction y'all want to come up with next.
I'm not perverted. I get good grades, I go to church, I'm a cheerleader.
But here you are, you know, a supposed leftist of some sort, of some kind of variation, pointing fingers at the queer community for having kink involved, mind you, in a fucking queer event. This is an event, by the way, that was started by queer people. This specific event that happens every year in the queer community is not only specifically a queer event, but it was started by radical queers. These queers had a lot to say about sexuality, gender, and how sexuality is treated in cis-heteronormative culture. A lot of this shit isn't just kink for kink's sake. In fact, kink is not even explicitly sexual in the first place. It doesn't have to be sexual. Some kink and BDSM related relationships aren't sexual. That's another thing they don't fucking teach you in school. One of the things that I feel is kind of important to me is the subject of sex ed, and like I've actually been thinking about it a lot lately. And it's partially because it begun with me wondering what my body was going to do when I became a trans woman. But that information is so far out there, it's hard to find actually. What I ended up finding was a book called Fucking Trans Women. And I mean, it's a good book, but I mean, there's some people that disagree with it in some cases, but that just goes to show you how much firewall there is between things that should be taught in school and what is being privatized, actually, because it's just like all this consent shit that we should be teaching in school that I just mentioned earlier. The intersection of education that does that the best is the DARE program, and I don't think any of us actually endorse the DARE program, at least on an honest level. In fact, the DARE program is so focused on identifying black people as gang members than they are trying to prevent drugs in the first place. In fact, they've actually gotten kids more interested in drugs, statistically speaking. If that is an indicator as to how not helpful the school system is, then it should demonstrate as to like what kind of DDLG or MDLG circumstances you might get into further down the line, because we don't have an education system that covers that in a way that prepares children for when they grow up. You know, even debatable now as to whether or not the entire school system is functional in a way that helps children grow up and be prepared for success, because it's very identifiable where the problem lies. You know, you guys want to reform shit. Isn't this kind of something you'd like to reform? You'd want to defund the police for and to, you know, endorse, you know, social programs that help make the community safer to prevent crime, and maybe further down the line to abolish the police, which, remember, the purpose of the police is not to protect you. I mean, we already got, you know, evidence of that. But more importantly, they're there to protect private property and people with capital. What if I told you that certain politicians endorse a very specific industry of porn on the internet, particularly Ted Cruz, by any chance? What if I told you that by a very specific profit incentive, that industry of porn, it makes so much money, it makes so much profit, and it certainly makes a lot more profit than teaching kids how to do sex right in school. It certainly is more profitable to make money off of consensual, non-consent porn, especially surrounding a family dynamic in porn scenarios, than it is to teach kids about consent. It is even more profitable to do that than it is to give condoms to kids at school. And that's not really even a diss to the people who are part of that community. That's just saying that that makes more money than keeping the kids safe in a lot of ways. And at this point, if you're like truly, and let's be honest here, gatekeeping the queer community based on what kinks they're a part of or what their lifestyle is, then you're not even really like having our own best interests at heart here. Like it's just flat out like the opposite of our own best interest. In fact, you could be advocating for no cops at Pride. You could be advocating for no bankers or capitalists gentrifying queer and BIPOC neighborhoods. But no, you don't do that. No, because that shit's part of your fucking income. That's part of your status quo. That's part of the competitive nature of YouTube. It's to start up drama and to make money off of drama and made up fucking scapegoat. I don't get it. It's like all these fucking people, they're like, oh, we're gonna de-radicalize the right wing or whatever like that. It's like, you don't understand that the right wing is so deep-rooted in several hundred years of settler colonial
brainwashing.
It doesn't even just stop with a single YouTube video or a single YouTube channel. I can't even fucking task myself with de-radicalizing the right wing. Yet here you are saying that you can, and then you fucking saying homophobic fucking shit like this. You're literally just dog whistling or virtue signaling to these people. You don't have that much more important thing to do than to just fucking pick on marginalized people. So fucking sick of y'all fucking shit. Log off. Do something better with your time. Seriously. And if you're really gonna critique kink, at least understand what kink is to begin with. At least understand how kink works. And maybe instead of fucking targeting the queer community, maybe start targeting the cis-heteronormative culture that made you fucking ignorant on what kink is in the first place. So I wasn't sure if I was gonna actually bring this next part up. I was actually really worried about maybe like just starting like huge harassment cycles. I mean, I'm sure there's already harassment cycles centered around this, but it's just like this next part, it actually is really hard for me to just talk about. I am worried that whatever Shoe0nhead has ever had to go through in her life, throughout her past, you know, it does involve another very huge YouTuber that I have not mentioned in this video, but this exact person is a player in this whole thing. I feel that maybe the hurt she may have gone through is maybe the reason why she had the statement that she made. That kind of stuff is tricky. That's why you need to, you know, make sure that you trust the other person. And I know that's easier said than done. Trust me, I trust a lot of people that I shouldn't. And a lot of people that I do end up not trusting are people that are actually trustworthy people. It happens all the fucking time, and I get that. Like, from the bottom of my heart, I know the struggle in that. But to single out, you know, an entire like movement, an entire marginalized celebration of liberation, and revolution, an entire event that is centered around solidarity. In order to gatekeep from that, it's very destructive. But like I said earlier, I actually even brought up earlier that the problem is in our, cis-heteronormative world, the education system that I just mentioned, the church system, the double standard that men have in the legal system against women. It's just little things like that, And I want you to, I want you to know, I'm not trying to send harassment your way. I could never take away, your hurt. It's completely valid, I just feel like the way you're handling it right now, and let's be honest here, you're doing this with social capital, and I know you got Fosh as your friend, but at the same time, it's like, that's why you gotta be a little bit responsible for who you influence. That's why a lot of people have been holding PewDiePie and Onision accountable for things like that. And I'm not at all equating what you do compared to what they do. I mean, obviously, they are the abusers in this situation. They ran with the idea that they can just profit off of, signal boosting neo-Nazism or being a misogynistic, fucking abusive piece of shit, and use that for social capital. I'm just saying, there are just certain things where, under capitalism, you can do, but it's just I wouldn't recommend it, just.
It's time for your first disclosure. Now, don't be intimidated. Why don't you start by telling us about the first time that you realized that you might be a lesbian?
Well,